Can you tell me a little bit about the makeup of St Mungo's?
Sure. The makeup that St Mungo's has increased and continues to grow. So over the past 3 or 4 years, we've seen the numbers in the school increase by about 125 young people. So we now have roughly, at the beginning of the year, we start off with probably about 850 young people in the school. And as the year progresses, between kind of natural wastage, young people recognising that perhaps they should be at college instead of school or whatever else, it kind of levels out at about 825, 830. But in actual fact, with the numbers who leave, including the Christmas leavers, we've almost got this commensurate number of young people who are coming into the school, and the vast majority of those are young people with EAL needs. So the makeup of the school has changed quite dramatically in the past 3 or 4 years. So we now have 183 young people, almost a quarter of young people in this school who have English as an additional language. And that consists of about 37 different languages. The vast majority, the biggest group, not the vast majority, but the biggest group are the Polish group. But it's very diverse, from Colombia, from Nepal, from parts of Europe, certainly parts of Africa, and very recently, of course, we've had refugees who have come to the school as well. So, yeah. So as a school, we don't have the level of parental engagement that we would like. And it's a constant challenge to us the whole time. And with the ever increasing numbers of young people with EAL coming to our school, we recognised that there was probably a real need to reach out to them in such a way that they became familiar with the school, that they were comfortable with the school, that actually as parents they were supporting us in getting the best for the young people. And it was on that basis that Latif liaised with others, and the group formed. And I feel a wee bit fraudulent in taking any plaudits for the success of the group, because really all I did was say, absolutely, go ahead and arrange, and if you need anything, get back to me. But he didn't need anything. Actually, it just evolved and developed, and it was very evident very early on that there was a real need for the parents to have an understanding about what we were trying to achieve as a school, that an understanding about the wider kind of perspective in terms of Scottish education and the kind of Glasgow approach as well. And a real willingness, a very evident willingness that parents wanted to support us and to support their young people, and that the barriers which perhaps had existed in the past were barriers that were easy to knock down when we started looking at ways to do that. So they were willing and able to engage with the school once the appropriate supports had been put in place.
And you spoke about the barriers for parents. Would you like to just expand on what they were?
Well, first of all, we have parents who so the range of diverse needs, it's huge. So we have people who have come from systems which are very alike the system that we operate in Scotland. So it mirrors much of what they have already experienced. But also we've got young people who have never been to a formal education environment before, and we've got probably lots of different levels in between. So ones where it's the language that's the barrier, but the system is very similar, and ones to where it's language and system. So that experience, the young people's experience, is mirrored by their parents' experience as well. So that's, I think, what we had to get to grips with in terms of making the school a more parent-friendly, accessible organisation where parents felt comfortable about supporting us to support their young people and just generally take part in the wider life of the school.
Yeah. What have you, or what has the school learned from having the parent group?
I think what we've learned is that that the efforts that we put in to break down the barriers and open the school up have been paid back, quite significantly. And what seemed like quite a challenge, and it was a challenge, but in actual fact the willingness of parents and indeed the young people to engage in this kind of work is there. So really, I suppose what we've learned is that we've made a really good start to this, but what do we do now, and how do we sustain that? How do we make sure that that becomes a feature of St Mungo's Academy, and that the values where we talk about everybody being welcome and it being an inclusive school actually is lived out day on day through our reaching out to those people who perhaps feel isolated and unable to contribute or take part in their child's education. And
what advice would you give other schools who are looking for ways of engaging EAL parents?
I suppose what other schools have to do is they have to gauge where they are on that journey. But I think what we've demonstrated from this project is that parents are really keen to get involved and really keen to develop their own awareness of what the school is about and how they can support the young people within the school. And I can't imagine that would be any different anywhere else. So what advice would I give anybody? I would advise them to just try, whatever. It's not. I don't think this is a prescriptive thing.
Yeah.
I think that it can be, approached in so many different ways. But I think the essence of it is to continue to keep trying to break down the barriers which are preventing parents from engaging in school life. And as I say, I think that can be done in lots and lots of different ways. I think there's a need there. I think we just have to keep trying. And if it's just small steps to begin with, then those are things that can be built upon. But bringing parents together with similar issues and similar requirements, I think is a good starting point. And that's how it started in here, over a cup of tea, bringing people in and having those discussions. I think that's a really good starting point. And I think what will happen then is that the parents themselves will direct the school as to what the needs are likely to be. Because I think Latif was very responsive to what parents in here were requesting, which is probably why other people were brought in, because they were interested in finding out other aspects of the school.
Yeah. Okay, that's great.